Yo me back.
What's up, Primates? I'm Shane the Skeptic, and as always, I thank you for tuning into my channel to watch my content. Today, I'm going to begin by talking about a couple things that have been going on with me personally, but then I'm going to get into some more serious stuff today. Some stuff that I'm going to talk about some very disturbing information today, but um, I'm a little bit happy, not because of what occurred, but because of the fact that somebody who I know, who I at one point actually considered somewhat of a friend has been convicted of probably the most heinous crime that a human being could ever commit. And he was convicted, and I'm happy to hear that he was convicted, that he was found guilty. You know, it's not often that I say that about anybody that I know, that I'm glad they're going to prison. But I'm absolutely happy that this person is going to prison, and we're going to get into that today. But I'm going to give a shout out to, let's see, who do I got? I got Johnston Monster. So shout outs to Johnston Monster. Thank you for being here today, my dude. And for anybody that was trying to tune in last night, my bad. I had initially scheduled this stream for 12:30, and then one bong rip led to another, and then I passed out, and the next thing I knew, it was like 5 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh shit, my bad." So here I am, once again in the morning, drinking my coffee, doing things as we as we should. Now, on a positive note, I'm going to say this. In less than 24 hours from right now, I will be landing in Bogota, Colombia, and I'm going to be traveling the country, not by myself this time, because I actually know somebody there, porque ahora yo tengo un amor en mi vida, and yeah, estoy muy emocionado por eso. Pero ahora it's time to talk about some serious shit. So if anybody doesn't know, there is a guy who was once an atheist YouTuber, and he had a channel that was called The Empathetic Atheist. And his legal name still is Justin Downing. Now, like many people who convert to Islam, he converted to Islam. So after he converted to Islam, he changed his name to Khalil Allah, which in Arabic means friend of Allah. Allah is just actually a word that means God. It's not necessarily a name for God. And you could argue, how are we defining names? But yeah, the word Allah means God, right? So Khalil Allah means friend of God. He changes his name to that. He maintained his show was called the EA show for Empathetic Atheist. Well, he just changed what that stood for to examining arguments, and he became a Muslim apologist, right? Regularly defending various aspects of Islam, including but not limited to his passionate defense of the grooming of young girls, of the Prophet Muhammad's relations with Aisha. And anytime I talk about Muhammad and Aisha, there's only the slightest conflict in me that I want to get along with members of different groups, different thinking camps, different cultures. And I know people who are Muslim who are very kind people that I'm happy to work with or be friends with or have in my life, be acquainted with in whatever way that I am. And, I tend to avoid bringing up religious topics around religious people. I mean, the some people might go, this is the thing though, YouTube is a place for that for me. There are platforms on Facebook that are a place for that for me. I don't try to turn every aspect of my life into a religious argument, because I don't like it when religious people do that to me. I don't want everything to be turned into, oh, well, what about this? Oh, what about this? What about God? And so I don't want to do the same thing. Just to clarify. Well, um, Khalil, Justin, whichever the names that you want to refer to him as, is now a convicted sex offender. He has been sexually abusing his stepdaughter for I'll read the statement from his ex-wife. I'm under the impression that his daughter that the abuse occurred for over a year, I think 2 years. But I don't know for sure that that's the amount of time. I mean, it could have gone on for way longer for all we know. Um, but I wanna capture the way that his own followers respond to this, because one thing that I think I could say proudly is that if I was convicted of a sex crime against a child on the basis of DNA evidence, I don't think any of my supporters would stand by me, as you shouldn't. Because if you would defend me doing that, you would defend somebody else doing that. That is not a defensible thing. You should be able to say that anybody who does that is a terrible human being. Look at the trees is here. What's up? Look at the trees. Happy to see you today. Um, so I want to get into the statement, the victim impact statement that was released by his ex-wife, and I want to make clear that um, if I thought for 1 second that this was a post that was meant to be kept private, that I would not be sharing this. The last thing I want to do is turn her trauma and what she's going through into something that I could exploit for content. I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. So that's not what this is. She has been getting attacked by his followers. So think about the fact that after he raped a child, that child's mother is being attacked by his followers merely because of the fact that he's a member of their tribe. This is what tribalism does to people, you guys. You need to be willing to consider if an allegation is backed by credible evidence, especially if the evidence is DNA evidence. You need to be willing to consider that allegations against people who are members of your own group, people that you like, might be true, especially when it comes to things like sex crimes. Because you see, what a lot of people don't understand is this: a child molester isn't always some stranger, it's actually one of the minority offenders. Normally, what people do is they gain trust of a child, and then they exploit that. They take advantage of that. They find as many opportunities they can to maintain some ongoing abuse that they can. So this idea that, like, oh well, like, you won't even consider the possibility that somebody you know or like is capable of horrible things, work on it. Okay? You never know. Especially when you consider the fact, I want you guys to hear this impact statement. And for anybody who's not in a place to hear about some very disturbing sexual content, that's what is about to be read here. But Khalil Allah deserves to be exposed to the maximum for what he is. I want both names that he is known by, Justin Downing and Khalil Allah, to be associated with the most immoral thing that a human being can do, because he did it. So whether you refer to him as Justin Downing or Khalil Allah, I say refer to him as both. Let's associate both of those names with what he did. Okay. She says, "Dear Honorable Judge Stevens, the statement I give you is not just a victim impact statement detailing the ways in which Justin traumatized my daughter for life, but also the statement of a fool who was blind to her reality. It's an analysis of all the ways I failed as a mother. My daughter was your average preteen girl prior to moving into my grandparents' home in 2018. My daughter was full of energy. She loved to perform for others, dancing and singing her heart out. She loved crafts and making new things. She loved baking cookies or other goodies and then gobbling them up. She was a girl full of feelings and loved others very deeply. She was always ready for new adventures. However, after moving in with my grandparents over time, she changed, always experiencing these high highs and low lows, never in between. When triggered by something, even the smallest inconvenience, she would have fits of rage filled with yelling, screaming, uncontrollable sobbing, slam doors, and sometimes she would throw things or knock over furniture. She started struggling more in school, struggling to get up in time or even get up at all. She was struggling with outbursts at school, which led to her being bullied by other students. These things were strange because this wasn't the girl we knew. We didn't understand what was going on. She and Justin were always arguing. It was like they hated each other. He was always so critical of her, about everything, even the little things. I thought maybe it was because I introduced him too quickly. It was just my daughter and me for 10 years, and she only ever knew her dad, as I never brought any other men around her. The reason we are here today is why I never brought men around her. Justin was the exception to the rule because I've known him. Everybody take into consideration that she was specifically afraid of this occurring, and this kept her from wanting to date. Since we were in first grade, she said, he was the exception to the rule because I've known him since we were in first grade, and our families knew each other before that. So she knew him since she was in first grade. So you could see why this trust would exist. I thought maybe it was because of his military mentality. I thought maybe she was just struggling to find her place. At the same time, there were moments they were thick as thieves. They would spend time upstairs in his computer room making funny videos. Other times they would be up there and he would be teaching her how to use Photoshop. There was also a brief time when there was a plan to help her create her own YouTube show about makeup. These moments made me smile and gave me hope. I didn't know that it was during these moments that Justin was destroying her childhood by regularly raping her. I would often joke and call him a sucker for getting her treats and giving her phone back when she got in trouble. I didn't realize that I was witnessing him groom my daughter. I didn't realize that the energy drinks, milkshakes, candies, and other goodies were his form of payment. I believe he was so critical of her because he was looking for ways to excessively punish her, only only to then force her to have sex with him to get out of the punishment. I also believe that he was so critical of her because he was taking away any opportunity. Because he was taking any opportunity to discredit her, so that if she did tell someone what was happening to her, they wouldn't believe it. The signs were there. I think back to the spring of 2021 when I had to take my daughter to children's emergency room for mental health concerns. This resulted in her being held down by multiple nurses and police officers so she could be sedated. When this was happening, I was standing on the other side of the wall listening to my daughter scream. As she screamed, I was unknowingly sobbing into the arms of her serial rapist. Following this, she was admitted to the children's partial program for 2 weeks. The treatment included new medications that would facilitate a weight of 50 pounds in less than 10 months. It also included a mood disorder diagnosis that is now, according to her health professionals, believed to be the result of the trauma. She was surrounded by all these professionals and people who would kill to keep her safe, and she still kept it a secret. She was brainwashed into accepting her new reality. It wasn't until after I removed him from the home via protection order that she believed and realized he wasn't coming back. 5 days to be exact. This led to the disclosure of the abuse to her best friend. She was so conditioned that it wasn't rape to her. It was sex. Justin and I had sex, she said. He was cheating on you with me, she said. I wish I had gone in the house to get her, said my mom, who hates herself for not going in the house when picking my daughter up for school after finding out he would rape her in the mornings before sending her off. If only I had gone upstairs to check on him, said my aunt, who one day sent her son Josh to check on her and Justin upstairs, but the door was locked. I should have gone up there, my grandpa, who blames himself for not protecting her as Justin would rape his great-granddaughter in the bedroom above him as he rested in his recliner. What about our son? What the hell do I tell my son? He misses his dad despite how he treated him at times. He loves his dad. One day he will ask why his father is gone. One day he will be old enough to know the truth or seek it for himself. I think about this often, and I doubt I will ever have any idea of how to navigate it. I just know it will be a traumatic time for us all. So what do I wish for? That when living at my grandparents' house, I would have gone to the top floor to check on her? That even though it got to the point where I didn't want to share a bed with him, I would have slept upstairs in our room at the new apartment and maybe he would have not raped her while I slept? That perhaps I shouldn't have gone door dashing to bring in more money for us because then I could have been home and maybe he wouldn't have raped her then? That I would have believed his other children, Cadence and Elijah, when they disclosed their abuse? That I didn't think his ex-wife was making these things up in a malicious attempt to keep his children from him? That I would have seen the abuse, grooming, and manipulation I endured for what it was and left sooner? That I wasn't so damn stupid or blind? I can't wish for anything. The only thing I could wish for is the thing that would have prevented this from happening to my daughter. It would be wishing that I never met Justin, and for brief moments in time, this wish creeps its way into my thoughts, and immediately I'm flooded with shame and guilt because that would be wishing away my son's existence. I can't. I won't do that. So what do I wish for? Nothing, because all the wishes we've wished, the should haves, would haves, and could haves mean absolutely nothing despite how desperately we wish they did. Nothing will end the nightmares I have. The nightmares where I'm frozen in place, witnessing the sexual abuse of my daughter with no power to stop it. Nothing to stop the moments of the day when I check out, picturing so vividly moments from the past, except these memories are different because I discover the abuse. I imagine a struggle that sometimes ends in his demise by the pull of a trigger, a push out a window, a stab of a knife, or the strangling of computer cords. Other times I am defeated and he ends us all. I think back to the day I got the protection order against him on November 1st, 2021, and the recording he left for me on the Ring camera. That recording is publicly available for your information. After changing out his work clothes, he walked out of the house with keys in his hand, ready to go somewhere. He stopped, turned, and spoke to the camera, saying, "I don't know what's going on right now, Jasmine. You've deleted me off of Facebook. You've blocked me from accounts. I don't know what's happening." And here comes the fucking cops. I think the cops showing up when they did might have saved lives because in the video, when Justin sees the police, he goes back inside our home, removes my 9mm firearm from the pocket of his pants and sets it on the table by the window before moving it to the chair next to it. What was his plan? After illegally concealing a firearm registered to someone else and getting in his work truck, what was he going to do? My daughter received a life sentence the moment Justin's abuse began. His abuse and the trauma it caused will remain with her for the rest of her life. It is the cause of her lack of confidence, self-hatred, and desperation for acceptance by anyone willing to give it. It is the cause of her feeling she has no one she can trust, including me. It is the cause of her struggle to set boundaries and respect those of others. She often struggles to accept healthy criticism. He ripped away her childhood. She believes that the abuse, the trauma, is what defines her. It's not, but she doesn't believe that, at least not yet anyway. It's unfair that he's made this mess. He stole her childhood and turned her world upside down. It's unfair that in the aftermath, the cleanup relies solely upon my daughter. She has a never-ending support system, but it all starts with her. Before she can heal, she will have to break herself apart. She will have to fight to rid herself of the version of she created to survive the hell he kept her in. Then when she has done that, she will have to work to rebuild herself, work to develop self-love and acceptance, work to set boundaries and respect those of others, work to develop healthy relationships with those around her, work to develop healthy habits and coping skills. Then she will have to work to maintain this new foundation as she continues through life and its constant up and downs. Following our separation and during the investigation, Justin continued to preach about morality by means of his YouTube show. 2 months following our separation, he gained a new wife, despite us still being legally married, moving and living with her and her children. To clarify, everybody, Justin's booking date isn't until next month. So as far as I'm aware, this man who is convicted of raping a child is currently in a house with children as we speak. Yeah, that I don't know what to comment about our legal system there. There were times he discussed the allegations charges with the listeners on his YouTube show or Discord group. When the charges were first made public, he requested money from his viewers to pay for his legal fees, stating, "My legal fees to fight this religious persecution is very hefty." Yes, he's been referring to it as religious persecution, him being accountable for being a child rapist. If anyone would want to help donate, there are 3 links in the descriptions you can visit. It would be so much appreciated if you could help. Yes, so if you have been financially contributing to EA Dawa, just know that your money went to the legal defense of a child rapist. That's where your money went if you've given him your money. And I'm very glad that I never gave so much as a super chat. I'm very glad that not $1 of my money ever went to this man. Then time passed, and on various social media platforms, he spoke of the allegations, again claiming that I was coaching my daughter. Then, not too long after that, he claimed that she was a liar and mentally unstable. I didn't do it, but if Allah believes I should go to prison, then I will do my time and come out a scholar. He and his wife spoke about my daughter in an attempt to discredit her. He has his new wife discrediting the victim of a child that he raped. I mean, this is shame on that woman. That is fucking despicable. Believe her name's Chloe. Piece of shit. Stating that if the allegations were true, then why didn't anybody notice? Why didn't her therapist notice? Justin made these statements as if victims walk around with a sign that says, "My stepdad rapes me," as if his abuse and manipulation of not just my daughter, but our family as a whole had nothing to do with it. As if him threatening to hurt her family if she told anyone didn't have anything to do with it. This was not a good relationship gone bad like I originally thought. This was a systematic erosion of our self worth designed to his benefit and on an even more sinister level. His lawyer, who I understand is only doing her job, may stand before you today and point out his law abiding behavior while on bail. Why would that be considered a plus for him? We all thought he was a law abiding citizen. What a slap in the face to say he's been well behaved, when in reality, all that is saying is that he could have been well behaved, but chose to repeatedly rape his stepdaughter instead. She may point out that he's a veteran, but to use the American flag as a way to shield him from a well deserved harsh punishment is a disgrace to the flag, this country, and to the men and women who have served this country with honor and integrity. My daughter deserves justice. I want to thank the detectives, investigators, the prosecutorial team, social workers, and victim advocates who have supported Riley's fight for justice in various ways. So here we are. It's your turn. My daughter did the most difficult part in sharing the deepest, darkest part of her life and continuing with her fight to survive. Help her and show her that there are even more people who believe her and are disgusted by his behavior. Help her see that she did the right thing in disclosing the abuse she endured all those years and that it wasn't a waste. Help her attain her goal of preventing this from happening to any other children for as long as possible. It is your turn to hand down a punishment that reflects the chronic sexual, emotional, mental, and physical abuse that Justin Downing exposed my daughter to from the ages of 12 to 14 years old. A punishment that reflects the torture of years to come as she fights to heal and move forward. I ask that you help her by handing down the maximum sentence for each charge and ordering that they be served consecutively. Thank you for taking the time and providing space for my daughter and me to be heard. And thank you for handing down what I hope to be a well deserved harsh punishment. That is the victim impact statement. And now I'm going to go look back at the chat right now. Let's see. Yeah. I didn't like that fucker before all this. I didn't like him back in bars live streams. You know what? My first interaction with him, we didn't get along. And then, see, I pride myself on my ability to. Sometimes I'll interact with somebody on Facebook or something, we'll have a bad interaction. But if I could get them on a camera where they got to show their face and address me, normally I can get to a respectful place with them. And that's what happened with me and Justin Khalil. That's what happened the first time we had interacted, not get along at all. And then we did get along. I went on his channel and talked about epistemology. And I don't know, it's just when I found this out about him, to reflect, to watch conversations and to just realize that I was engaging with and interacting with someone who was doing this and I didn't even know it. I mean, yeah, it's not like we all have, I don't know, pedophile detectors in our brains, but it's a surreal feeling to know that you knew some. Yeah, I never knew him personally. I've never met the man in person, only know him online, but I knew him well enough to be shocked that someone that I knew did this. Um, yeah, he says, "I'm a veteran. Fuck him. Not all veterans are good people." Well, exactly. And then the fact that somebody's a veteran, it's kind of a manipulative thing because It's like, oh, you're not supposed to say anything bad about veterans. A veteran could be a bad person too. It doesn't mean veterans equal bad people. It just means veterans doesn't equal innocent. That being a veteran doesn't make somebody incapable of anything, any kind of crime. So, um, okay, you know what? I really wish that I got the link. Do you have that link, the GoFundMe for Justin's victims? Because you know what, I have seen those links. He says James is tired. Posted it on his video. I've seen that video. At the very least, I'm gonna get that link in here in the comments after the fact. Um, I want that link here. I want people. I want people donate. I've donated a little bit to Jasmine, but I would like to see more people because let's keep in mind, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong about this. I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm reasoning this out based off of what I have seen. So anybody who knows if I'm wrong, fact check me. As far as I'm aware, it appears as though through YouTube, Justin has raised more money. Let's see, the child rapist has raised more money through GoFundMe and other means, YouTube donations than than his victim has. And I think if that be the case, which I think it is, we should work to change it. And if it isn't the case, let's make it even less so, right? Dan, hey, good to see you here, my guy. Good to see you here. I'm pretty sure you pick up on who we're talking about. We're talking about Justin Downing, aka Khalil Allah. I say we mention both names whenever we talk about him, so that both of those names are further associated with what he did. That's what it is today. What's going on, Gary? Happy to have you here. And you know what? I might read. I might read this in a separate video, but I want to read it here too. So I'm gonna go to let's see. You know what I really like to see too? If you go to his channel, let me share screen here real quickly. Present, share screen, EA Dawa. All right, cool. All right. If you go EA Dawa, where's all the videos? They're all gone. Did he delete them out of shame? I think that's the most likely explanation. I can't imagine that somehow YouTube found out he was convicted and then that gave them grounds to delete his video. Like that theory doesn't make any sense to me. I think he got ashamed and but some community posts are still up. And comments other than stay strong, my brother, any he's been deleting comments, right? But let's consider this. The number of likes. So he posted this post twice on accident, I'm guessing. At the present time, the legal matter concerning Justin Downing, also known as Khalil Allah, is both an ongoing legal and personal matter. Now, this post was a month ago. As such, there is no comment that could be made at this time. At such a time where this matter has concluded from a legal standpoint and is safe to do so, his legally appointed representatives will make a full statement. Thank you for your patience and continued support. Patience and continued support. Everybody, think about that. Continued support. Now, 2 weeks ago, after he gets convicted. That's right, he's convicted. That's what we have to smile about today. This motherfucker convicted. Thank you to everyone for your patience in waiting for this statement. We appreciate your respect for the family and their privacy during this time. There will be further updates and information yet to be disclosed by his representatives when they are able to do so. Khalil did, via a plea deal which he was offered, plead guilty to accusations against him, which could be found as a matter of public record. He has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. Now, this is all public record, everybody. You can look this up for yourself. And you know what I'm going to mention right now is I have an address of his, and there's only one thing that is keeping me from doxing him right now. And that is that I don't know if that's his current address or his previous address, which would be where his ex-wife probably lives. And the last thing I want to risk is accidentally causing her to receive further backlash. So for that reason, I won't dox that address. But if I knew it was, I'd go for it. And you know what's funny, you guys, is every time somebody's talked about this, brought this up on one of his streams or whatever. He said, "All right, well, you're gonna be hearing from my lawyer or something to the effect of I'm gonna be suing you for oh man, why am I forgetting the word? Why am I forgetting the word? When you make shit up about somebody, what's the legal term? Somebody's character. He estado hablando demasiado español. Starting to forget my words in English. This slander is one of no the legal term. If you slander somebody for something that they didn't do, defamation. Thank you, defamation. Defamation. That's what it is. He has been threatening people with defamation suits anytime anybody's brought up the facts. Okay, you know what? If you end up watching this, Khalil, and I'm gonna make another video with your name in it, being more direct with you, but I would if you can file a defamation lawsuit against me, please, I won't even get a lawyer. I would love to show up in a court where you have to be brought into court in handcuffs because you've been convicted of this crime and try to get away with winning a defamation lawsuit. I wouldn't even get a fucking lawyer. I would step into the court and the judge and I would laugh at you is what would happen. And it'd be over with. Nobody's going to be seeing any lawsuits from Khalil. And if you do, oh, it'll be don't even waste your money on a lawyer. Okay. That's it. So now what I want to read is, and I'm going to read this separately. I shared the wrongs. Let me see real quickly. No, I'm on the right screen. My bad, you guys. Okay. Like I said, he's deleting comments, so I expect my comment to be deleted. I screenshotted it to save it. I want to say it here, but I want to make another video where I just make this statement. So this is what I have to say. This is addressed directly to Justin Downing, Khalil Allah. I remember you teaching me that in Islam, Allah is called the concealer of sins. Looks like you had to find out the hard way just how wrong you were. Your Muslim brothers and sisters prayed for you, yet the evidence prevailed, and both of the names people know you by will forever be associated with one of the most immoral behavior a man can engage in, the rape of a child. I know that Islam is not the cause of your pedophilia, but you have made it very evident that the grooming of young girls is an aspect of Islam which appealed to you, and clips of you defending Muhammad for his relations with Aisha will forever be seen with knowledge of your perversion in mind. Your followers regularly demonstrate that they will excuse the fact that you are a child rapist merely because you are a member of their faith. And if they believe you to be innocent, it is in spite of DNA evidence, proving what we already knew, that they value the word of members of their tribe more than they value evidence of what is demonstrably true. Pray all you want to, Khalil. Allah will help you in the future as much as he helped you in your trial. That is, not at all. May you die painfully at the hands of another inmate. That's what I have to say. And I will say it again. Of that whole statement, you'll get your own video of just that statement. And I emphasize the last part. May you die painfully and slowly at the hands of another inmate. Preferably a couple of years into your sentence, just so you have to go living through being in prison first. That's what I hope for. I hope they get you the day you're supposed to get released. That happens to people quite often. That's what I hope. I hope he has to go through the entire prison sentence thinking he's about to finally get freed. Finally get freed. And then he just gets his fucking neck stomped in. Whatever. Whichever method. Shank him. I don't give a fuck. Whatever they do to him. And if anybody wants to misconstrue it, it's not any kind of a threat coming from me. I don't have any connections in prison in fucking Ohio. I'm not threatening shit. I ain't going to do shit. I don't have to. I don't need to. Other inmates take this kind of thing very seriously. And if you think this is my he's been saying Allah is the concealer of sins. Well, as I said, look how that looked out for him. He really part of his religious worldview is that Allah will conceal your sins from others, not from himself, but from others. And yet everybody knows the worst thing about you. It's like the Quran got it wrong again, didn't it? See, honestly, if he had bothered to regret and repent of his action and go to prison after he converted, it would have made his religion look better. Yeah, honestly, at least in the eyes of many. But instead, he's been lying about it, and he has been getting his Muslim brothers and sisters to attack Jasmine. She's being attacked. After everything that she went through, is being attacked by his followers. So think about the kind of manipulation that goes into this. Grooming is a very serious thing. He didn't just groom her, he groomed everyone around. He's saying he made this environment. And it is the only good news is that he's convicted. But again, I want to highlight this to everybody. According to all of the information online, his booking date is next month, and he's been convicted. I think it was maybe it was only 2 weeks ago. I feel like it's been a month since he's been convicted, but however long it's been since he's been convicted, how do we live in a society in which there is enough evidence, DNA evidence, that someone raped a child and that person, after being convicted of doing so, can continue to be allowed to live in a house with a child? He's living with like I said, I believe her name's Chloe, and he has access to her children as of this moment. That is the most disappointing thing I can think of in law and order, in imprisonment, in the legal system that we have in this country. Yes, I am talking about Khalilullah. I am talking about Khalilullah, the child rapist. Yep. And I don't know. I read that statement the other day, and I just for hours couldn't stop thinking about it. And here I read it again today. Deserves awareness. Like I said, if I thought it was a private matter, I wouldn't have read it here today. I wouldn't have tried to, oh, there's an opportunity for me to make content. It's about raising awareness of somebody that people know, and addressing him. And I guess I'm reaching the point where I'm at a lack of words for the rest of this. Now, maybe some coffee so I could think straight. I do think it deserves to be noted that Islam did not cause his pedophilia. And if we look at the dates of when he converted to Islam and the dates of when he started the abuse, I'm pretty sure that he started this abuse before he converted to Islam. So we need to be careful, everybody, not to misconstrue this as I don't want people to fuel I don't want this to fuel hatred toward Muslim people. And I don't want people to use this to try to say that this means that Muslims are, yeah, I don't know. The Muslim extremists are definitely disappointing us. The tribalism is disappointing us. The unwillingness to hold a member of their own tribe accountable is a thing. What I want to know is this, actually. Of the Muslims who associate with Khalilullah, has one of them said anything bad about him since he's been convicted? Has one of them stopped being friends with him? Any of them? Because if so, I would like to be aware of it. As far as I'm aware, not one. And there are a lot of things I could say about online atheists. A negative thing. I could sit here and I could talk shit. I've done it before. I have a whole stream called "Why I Don't Fuck with Atheists Anymore," where I, as an atheist, talk shit about atheists. But you know what? You know what? If I or anybody else in the online atheist sphere, right? Say sphere with a lisp. It sucks. Was convicted of doing this on the grounds of DNA evidence, that evidence would suffice and you guys wouldn't defend me. And I'm proud of you that you would not defend me if I did that. Yeah. I believe Justin is still an atheist and has been manipulative this entire time with nearly everything. I don't believe that at all. Personally. I do believe that he converted to Islam because he was genuinely convinced by the arguments of it. Um, Let me see. I tried to listen to your convo you had with him, but it's all Greek to me. Do you believe him when he said he was convinced with philosophical arguments? Well, you probably heard me just say it, but yes, I do genuinely believe that. Part of the reason why was because he was in this like Muslim echo chamber on Discord where they just fundamentally changed his epistemology. And if you change somebody's epistemology over the course of a few months, you change the basis at which they come to arrive at new beliefs. So that's a pretty good way to get people to arrive at different beliefs is first you change the way they arrive at beliefs. And that's precisely what happened with him. And I remember when I talked to him, there were some epistemological differences about one of them was when we talked about empiricism versus rationalism. And when I explained that his criticism of empiricism was a valid criticism of radical empiricism, but that there's empiricism other than radical empiricism. When I started explaining what he was wrong about, there was this kind of like, oh fuck, look in his face. Like, did I get it wrong? Obviously, I didn't deconvert him, but hey, let another group keep him. I don't need him. I don't need him in any of my demographics. That's fine. Yeah. So like I said, I'll be making another video addressing Khalil. But for today, since we're on this kind of topic, I'm gonna bring another thing in here. Share a different screen. I don't know if anybody's seen this. I'm not gonna play this entire footage because it's too long. But this polygamous cult prophet, Sam Bateman, caught towing underage girls in a trailer with porta potty. Okay, so the beginning of it's muted, so it's not wrong with the video. This is the guy right here. So he gets pulled over. I think it was because there were like hands sticking out of that trailer.
People back. How many other people in the truck? How many other people are in the truck?
That oh fuck look on his face.
Well, I just want to know who's inside the truck right now, so that way I know who else we're dealing with here. Or else I'm going to call everybody out.
As you can see, it's a pretty serious deal here, sir.
Let me see if I can get to the moment where they open that trailer.
We're trying to make sure
I just got here. Explain to me what's going on.
He just said, calm down. They're different. They're different videos. Does this one blur out? This one blurs out too much, man. I don't know. There we go. Here. This. So you'll notice as. Okay, so they age these girls. Do they show? Look at how young they get. These are the girls that he was towing in his trailer. This man. Look at this one.
Ma'am, just keep your hands out of your pockets for me, okay?
I mean, her maybe she's 12. I don't even think she's 12. She's got to be 10 or 11 years old right there. And a lot of these polygamous cult prophets, they always have their wives dressed like fucking House on the Prairie, like fucking 1800s. I don't know what's with that. I don't know.
You guys have any other ID? Nothing? You don't have ID cards? How old are you? 14. How old are you? 11? How old are you? 12? You? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? You don't have to say, or you just following her? Well, we're going to identify each and every one of you. Hang tight a minute.
So you'll notice that this one's recording, right? And the whole time she's getting defensive because
Are you able to write your first? You have the phone number?
So she starts saying things like, "Oh, this isn't illegal. Being in a trailer, that's not illegal." She starts defending him. What are you guys doing? And so you guys have to realize, especially when it comes to like to younger girls who are being groomed and manipulated by predators who are grown men, a lot of the time they will defend them. And this is one of the reasons why. So the predator makes the victim think that he loves them. And I actually don't even think it's impossible that in some cases the predator does love his victim. That just doesn't, whether he loves her doesn't change the fact that he's an abusive predator. So, but this is one of the reasons it's important to let people know. You might think, if you're a man listening, you might think it's a good idea to let your children know, if anybody ever does anything to you, tell me and I'll beat the fuck out of them. It's one thing to do that, but don't tell your kids that. Don't tell your kids that you'll do that. The reason you should never tell your kids that you'll do that is because the person that they will be abused at the hands of is most likely going to be somebody who's manipulated them into thinking that they love them. They love their abuser in many cases. So if a kid has an uncle, for example, who is molesting them, right? If the kid thinks, if I tell my uncle, my dad's going to beat him up, she loves her uncle and doesn't want her uncle to get hurt, so she's not going to tell her dad. So that's something that people need to know about child abuse, is that is a tactic that these predators do, and we have to be aware of this tactic. So I don't know, with a lot on the mind, Anyway, everybody, I guess I want to conclude this stream for now. As always, thank you for tuning into my channel to watch my content. I wish nothing but health and happiness for you and everybody that you love. If anybody has the links, post them here. I'll post them in the comments after the fact, after this stream is done, for the GoFundMe, or if there's a PayPal, whatever links there are that we could donate to Justin's victims. Let's do that. I want people who are compassionate to the victims to outfund the people who are compassionate toward the child rapist. Then, because that's what's happening. And anybody defending Khalil Allah is defending a child rapist. And if, like I said before, if they believe he's innocent, then they're just taking his word over DNA evidence. And they don't deserve to be excused because, they didn't really believe it. They have the evidence. They have an epistemic duty to believe it because it's reasonable. So, again, I wish nothing but health and happiness for you and everyone that you love. To my audience, stay safe, everybody. Next time you see me on a live stream, I'll be in Colombia.